Hello there and welcome to Community Life. Here we talk with the community experts about their life journeys and learn from each other. And today we have a conversation with Anamaria Dorgo, learning and community consultant who catalyze and spice learning up with international L&D peer community L&D Shakers, a coach, mentor, facilitator with degrees in psychology and human resources, a lifelong learner, and as someone says, a crazy person. So, hello, Anna Maria.
Oh, hi.
Finally, I feel like we've met just one time somehow, and it's like the second conversation, and just like that, immediately community life conversation. So
Yes.
let's do it right away. By the way, what is the weather in Amsterdam right now?
It is very October in August weather.
October, yeah.
Today we have some sun. It's cloudy. It was raining for the past 3 weeks. It's pretty chill, around 20 degrees. We go out with a jacket and with a cardigan, and yeah, very non-surprising for this part of the world, to be honest. It doesn't look that it's getting better. So it's fine. I was just talking to someone and they were living in Spain, Portugal. So everyone I talked to from the south of Europe, they're like, wow, it's really hot. The ground is burning. It's scorching hot. So I'm like, I keep the rain. I think it's fine. But yeah, how's the weather in your place?
It's also very similar to rain, but it's like sun is shining from time to time. So it's like very, like ups and downs, like very similar to freelancing or entrepreneurs' lives. So it's always like that. I have no ideas how to, what to wear, because if you wear too much clothes, it might be hot, but then another second, it's totally cold. So it depends. And tell me, how does your mood connect with the weather?
Sometimes more than other times, to be fully honest. I think that I like rain. I don't mind rainy days. Just when you have 3 weeks of no sunshine and gray skies, that sometimes affects my mood. But usually when it's rainy, I get in the cozy up, I want to do some reading and drink some nice coffee mode. And when it's sun, especially in the morning, I'm like, let me grab that coffee to go and be in nature. And we have a park here really close to us in Amsterdam. We're surrounded by water. So there's water everywhere, canals and lakes and all sorts. So it's just very peaceful, lots of wild animals. So when the sun's shining, I'm kind of like exploring mode. And when it's rainy, I'm cocooning mode.
What do you like more, cocooning mode or exploring mode?
It's hard. I like both. Yeah. I can't really say. I have a very, very strong connection to autumn and fall. So cocooning, and I really like that mode. And also I feel that for like in the past years, maybe ever since like general school or high school, I don't know if I associate the coming of autumn with starting the school or university. Like for me, it's very new beginnings. So that's why also this cocooning, for some people might be very reflective, but for me, I get also a lot of ideas when it's raining, when I'm with my book, when I'm looking out the window or like enjoying my coffee. That's like my brain is not cocooning. My brain is never cocooning. I might be cocooning, but my brain is
Your brain will never let you do that.
no.
I can imagine. Yeah. I can totally relate to this autumn thing because, it was always like school or university, and I don't remember how long time ago it was. And still, I totally feel exactly like you that it's like, it's almost a new year in September,
Yeah, but I also, if I look back, a lot of big life changes happened kind of in autumn, like towards the end of the moving country, or very often new roles. I don't know how, and maybe it's just self-fulfilling prophecies, like I just spot them. But yeah.
You need some changes in your life, totally. And during the festival Control to Culture, I saw this video. So they told that Anamaria is a crazy person. And you told that you are crazy about communities. But still, if we talk the word community away, how crazy person are you?
I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
And you are telling me this with having skateboard behind of you?
Yeah, which I never use. It's a funny story. Well, it's not really funny. My boyfriend bought it, and he really thought that he's going to learn how to ride it. Took it out twice, sprained his ankle the second time. And that was the end of it. And now it's here. It's a decorative shelf. I'm not a crazy person, to be honest. I don't do crazy things. I'm not very adrenaline junkie. I don't have any extreme hobbies, adventurous spirit or something like that. I don't tend to put my life in danger. So depends what crazy means to you. But yeah, I don't know how they I don't know how I don't know what they translated. I don't know what went wrong in the translation for them to call me a crazy person, but I thought that was funny. I'm not. I'm just a regular person.
Yeah, so you shared once that you drew the entire human digestive system on a huge canvas while in high school. So why did you do that?
God, where do you find these things? Where
Internet,
did I share that?
internet.
What
it
is
lives,
that?
it lives forever,
That really makes me go back to my digital footprints to be like, okay, yes. Why did I do that? Was the question?
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I loved drawing. I still love to draw. I am not particularly good at it, but I think I have some potential to potentially I could be good at drawing, but I never really spend enough time to hone that skill and really insist and get better at it. But I was in high school, and I just liked to, I think ever since I was about general school, high school, and then continuing up until today, I always liked to have some sort of project outside of my regular agenda, things that I had to do, which back then was school. I had, you had your lessons you had to learn, you had to get good grades and so on. Now you have to go to work, so on. So there's always this serious life that we have to live. And then I liked always to have something on top, which wasn't necessarily a hobby. It was more like a project. And so in high school, we used to do a lot of attending contests, like on a regional level, on a national level for years. I think we've went for 8 years, almost every year. It was called a first aid responder, whatever contest, I guess you could call it. So that was one of the things. And then, because I like to draw, the biology teacher was also our, I don't know how you call it, the class leader. I don't know how you call the teacher that kind of takes the class. At least that was, I'm from Romania, so that was kind of how we were structured. So every class had a teacher that was their, I don't know, representative.
Yeah.
And I was very close to her. And then all of our digestive system and all of the systems, nervous and the veins and everything, they were really old. And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to draw new ones for us. And I finished one. I don't even know what happened to it. I don't know if she probably just put it somewhere to side and thanked me and was like, well done, Anamaria. We're just going to hide this one away from everyone else. But I just, and I was spending time drawing after classes. So my colleagues would go home and I would stay every now and then for an hour or two alone with music to just draw the thing. Is that crazy? Maybe. maybe according to some people's definitions.
It depends, everyone's somehow crazy, so you never
Yeah.
know. And talking about drawing, when did you start drawing?
I can't really pinpoint. I think always like as kids, yeah, I guess that as kids we always pick up some colors and we try to draw. And then in school we had drawing classes or arts classes all the time. And I just really I just picked it up. I just stayed with that up until I went to university. Then life got crazy, and then I picked it up again in my previous role as a hobby, or let's say taking a mental break from life, kind of a coping mechanism, relaxation technique. But I can't really pinpoint to something. I remember just being very active with it, just like drawing a lot, to the point that my mom, so in Romania, we get to choose and apply for high school. I guess it's the same everywhere. So my mom encouraged me a lot to go to arts high school. I didn't end up doing that. But yeah, I remember her being very supportive of kind of like my artistic explorations. And in the end, I ended up doing just a real science high school, which was the opposite of arts.
Real science.
But yeah, so like just very science oriented arm or high school type.
Why so?
So I grew up in a village in Romania, and believe it or not, we had a high school. It wasn't a super small one. It was kind of like the biggest village around the villages around, but we had a high school. So I lived at home with my parents and went to school in that village up till the age of 18 when I went to university. And so we only had two high schools, like arm specialization. One was the real science or the sciences arm, and then the other one was the, I guess you could call it the literature, or like the soft science. That was the thing I was really good at. Actually, that was the one that I was supposed to be doing if we were true to, kids being able to identify their talents and picking careers or like development paths that are matching their inclinations and talents and passions. I didn't do that. I picked totally the opposite. And there was a very plain reason for that. All of my friends were going there, and I was like, I'm not going to. I'm going to go wherever my friends are going. And I'm not sure if you grew up the same, but for us, and I think that in a lot of places, still everything that has to do with science, math, chemistry, and so on is seen as the real, more important, more future-oriented. That's where the smart kids go. That's what you have to pursue, blah, blah, blah. So in the light of all that, I was like, okay, I'm going to pick that one. It was fine in the end, but it was so clear that my strength was the other side. Languages, literature, just arts in general. That was my strength.
It reminded me of the community building itself, because sometimes when you talk to people and they're asking what are you doing, and you tell them community building, and they're like, yeah, okay, but what are you doing for money?
I don't know about you, but I'm struggling to explain what I do for work. Like very few people get if I say I build communities, or I'm a community designer, community builder, whatever.
What is your best try? What is your best explanation of what community building is?
Every time I explain this, I try a different path to see what sticks. But I usually just tell people that I bring people together globally in a virtual space, whether that's in terms of being in the same room using Zooms, Butters, Teams, whatever. And I facilitate conversations, connections, learning, exchange amongst people that have a shared interest. And because I come from a background in learning and in HR, I tend to say that I tend to add that I design collective learning experiences, which is not far away from the truth, because really my, let's say, area of expertise in communities, communities of practice or learning communities. So that's not far away from the truth. But whenever I say that it's just social learning, people learning from each other, connecting and learning from each other, they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess.
Are there any follow-up questions after that?
Not a lot. It depends who I talk to, right? So some people are more inquisitive, but if I usually talk to someone that has like an old profession, like they work in law, they're lawyers or they're doctors or something, they don't ask further question. And everyone else, if they work in marketing or communications or especially learning, etc., they're usually more inquisitive and they ask questions. But how does that look like? And how do you do that? So it really depends. Do you have the same experience? Like, do you feel the same?
I am also always telling that I'm connecting people just as like Nokia did. So, and people, oh, Nokia, yeah, I remember. Like,
they probably think you work in telecommunication or something.
Most likely, but yeah, I don't really care. And I promised not to use the word community, but I feel like we already use it so much. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me about your parents. Who are they?
So my parents are very just simple, regular people. We grew up in Romania, and I was born in 86, so I was born in communism and everything that followed afterwards. So times were looking totally different back then as I was a kid and growing up. My mom did all sorts of jobs. She is very, very, like, her figure to me is a very strong woman, a very proactive woman. She worked for many years when I was a kid in a hospital as a receptionist, and ergo she knows how to kind of like give you the injections. Although that was not, she wasn't a nurse or something. She really learns very fast. Then as I grew up, she started working in Germany every summer in Munich in the beer garden. So she did that, which is something very common for Romania. It's very common for Eastern Europe. She speaks German. And that was a great opportunity to go when we were on school break, and then make money and come back home and resume her just the work that she was having at the hospital. Then she worked in a store. So that was her. And now after COVID, she has an office job, and she had to learn to use the computer after never having used it in her life. It was a steep learning curve, but now after a year and a half, she's kind of like, yeah, I understand what this is. And I'm very proud of her. She's a very big role model to me. And my dad is a car mechanic. When I was a kid, he used to work in factories. That was very popular in communist Romania. There were factories everywhere. And then after that whole glow kind of vanished, and he started working as a mechanic at home. So he is, and both of them are self-taught. So they didn't went to university. I was the first person, let's say, the first generation, together with my cousins, to go to university, my sister. So they're simple people that grew up in a village and kind of made the best of this life. And really with that, the grit, just like flexibility to ditch everything that life throws your way, it was very inspiring to see growing up. And they created a beautiful life for me and my sister. I have a younger sister, 4 years younger than me. So yeah, that's them.
And how did they create the best life? So how
Mm,
did they do it?
yeah. So several ways. First, they relentlessly worked and tried to provide. And when we went to university, they paid the rent for us. In Romania, you have it's state university, so they have always a certain amount of spots reserved for the kids with the highest grade, so they don't pay for university, and then the rest pay for it. So me and my sister, we were, very clever kids. So they didn't have to pay for university, but they did pay for rent. So we didn't live in the student housing. They rented a flat. The moment I went to university, for me, imagine growing up in a Romanian village, going to the big city just opened up the world. I suddenly feel like, gosh, there's so much more to what I thought reality was. And so I started getting a lot involved with student organizations and wanting to go to research summer schools and European congresses and so on, which all required money. And my parents were always there to make that happen for us. So I saw them they were fighters. They never complained. They always find ways, very resourceful, very like goal getters, doers, just very like, badasses, So that on one hand. Then on the other hand, they're very open-minded and very tolerant. So we didn't grow up in a place with much diversity of any kind, cultural, gender, like in the village that we grew up, everyone was very much looking very similar and living very similarly. And then as we grew up and kind of went into the world and so on, we obviously we bring those conversation back into the home. And I found my parents very open-minded and tolerant with respect to other people's diversity. And I didn't expect that, because I thought when you grow up your whole life in a certain like in a certain tiny box, which that village, like what that village represents to me in that context, for them to be able to open up their mind, or they're not, highly educated, they didn't went to universities, diplomas, and so on. That was I'm very proud of them. I'm proud that they are able to just keep their minds open towards new experiences and thoughts and ideas, and pause their judgment, like not lead with judgment. And so that was a beautiful thing to see my parents do.
Are they biased in something?
Come again? Who? My parents?
Are they? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. Like, we're all biased on many things, right? I don't think they're not biased. I think they're more, sometimes when I noticed that they ask sometimes questions is with regards to especially our work life. So like changing jobs, moving careers, like I pivoted from HR and I had what many would consider a really good job with, a lot of responsibility, big teams, all that, pivoting to learning and development and moving countries. And then now pivoting to community building, which is, not really something that they get or they understand. So every time I was faced with that decision, they always supported me, no matter what I decided. But the questions were like, but why do you want to change? But it's like, I don't know if that's like bias. It's more they were used to, if you find a good job, you hold on to that job for as long as you can, right? That's kind of how they grew. And so I'm going to change because I want to learn something new and do something new. That's something that they don't know much about. And they're but why do you want to search for something new and like kind of start again? And you may make it hard and difficult for you. Why don't you just stay here? Like, And they constantly, but aren't you not happy? Isn't this like, is it hard? Or it's like, no, there's nothing wrong. I just want to change. So I think they're somehow maybe they see that differently, but they always, no matter what I ever decided or launched at them, they were always go for it. If you thought about it and this is the path you want to go down to, we're here for you.
What is the first memory of your childhood that comes to your mind right now?
So I think there was, did someone ask me this? Maybe in a conversation, I don't remember. So I was playing a lot teacher. I have the memory of my plush animals and all the dolls. And when I say all the dolls, there weren't many, but there were some dolls that I had. That I kind of spread around the house, like on the bed, on the couch, and on the chairs and everything. And me being the teacher with, of course, a stick to kind of punish them when they weren't learning. And I had my like just random papers from newspapers that I was like, and I was quizzing them and testing them, and then I was taking them back, and then I was and that was me by myself with my animals. I liked a lot this, which is funny when you think that I ended up being like a trainer or a facilitator, leading like trainings or sessions or organized conferences, or like being in front of people and with people and surrounded by people. I was like, oh, that was the trainer, the facilitator gene in me. But even back then, I think those are some of my, like when you asked, that was the first picture that came to mind. And then just playing a lot outdoors, like in the summer. In Romania, we have where we used to have the 4 seasons. So summer was just, you were outside. The weather was amazing. You were outside 4 or 5 months of the year, playing with leaves and just dirt, whatever we could find. And
you didn't have this crazy computers and Zooms and all the stuff and social media, and it was so fun, so easy to go get out there and never come back.
I had my mobile phone in high school. I think I was on the 11th grade when my parents bought me a phone, and then I had my laptop at university because I needed a laptop. For like, but we even used to, like, first years I used to go to a internet cafe. Do you remember?
Yeah, exactly. It was one of the best things, you can only have. And currently you can play and connect. Yeah, you can connect currently with everyone, but before you could go only there to even, I'm not even talking about learning, it was all about playing games with your friends and like
for me, it was my email. Like I was checking email once a week when I was going to the internet cafe, and then I had the emails and I was answering them, and that was it. And you constantly had a memory stick. I'm like, oh, I haven't used the memory stick in a long while now. You constantly had your memory sticks with all your like papers and articles. Yeah. See? I have so many lying around. Do you still use, like, do you find yourself? I have a lot of archives like on them. So sometimes I use them as I just have an external drive where I kind of store my documents, but a memory to kind of like move things from one to the other is like, everything lands now in books on my iPhone, right? All of the docs and everything. I carry them around in my phone, but yeah, good times.
I even have floppy disks somewhere.
I have not caught that time. I remember them from school because we had computers at school, some computers, but we were already, like, we had laptops. When we first had our first computer, we had our laptops. We didn't have so I never really used floppy disks because
it's so fun. I believe that there are people currently who never even used CDs, who never even had laptops with CDs.
For sure. I'm pretty sure there are people that or they look at the Walkman and
What the hell is
they're like,
this?
what is this? Or like or the cassette, right?
Yeah, we sound like an old people right now, but I totally relate to those things. And once you shared that your family is in Romania and you having long video chats with them while cooking, so who do you have conversations with from your family?
Mom and dad. I talk with them both at the same time. And then sister, or sometimes sister and mom kind of conversations, or sometimes just sister.
Are they also cooking at this moment?
Everyone's doing their thing. Like I mainly do that when I cook, or when I just do like laundry, or have to fold stuff, or just like do things around the house. But when I cook, it's perfect because I'm not moving, like I'm just like chopping and do, so they can also see me. And I'm not a good, I don't like cooking, so I use that time to chat with them and kind of immerse myself in a pleasant conversation and not having to think and be aware of the fact that I have to cook and I don't like it. So that's that. And I'm not a fat, because I don't like it. I'm not really good at it. I'm not very fast at cooking. So it takes forever. And then, so it's like, oh, the perfect 40, 50 minutes to chat with, with my family.
What are you usually chatting about?
Gosh, everything. So we usually start with, it's very much updates based. So we start one by one with whatever we have to share. Either it's work, usually for me and my sister. So we start with work and things we're doing, or friends, and then mom and dad, they share an update again from their life and work and animals and what are the dogs doing and all the cats and everything. So we take like the whole animal kingdom, because they obviously they have a big yard with a lot of animals. And then they do updates like the village, neighbors, who died, who got married, what's happening, who had kids, all of that. So that's a big thing. And then I sometimes do updates in terms of work. And my mom has this very nice, fun habit. Every now and then she Googles me. She finds podcasts, or kind of, if this, this thing lands on YouTube, and then there's that. And so she's stalking me, and then she's like, she speaks some English. She's trying to, oh, you talk there, and who were they, and what are they doing, what are you talking about? And so she's constantly asking me, are you going to any conference? She just likes to see how I keep busy. So that's also big on the agenda. And the typical, what are you eating? What are you cooking?
What are you cooking exactly?
Mom questions.
Mom stuff. I can imagine. And you also shared that you were traveling for 10 years before settling up in the Netherlands. So what countries were you living in?
So I left Romania in 2012 for the first time, did an internship, went back for a couple of months, and then moved. My sole country is Germany. I'm very attached to Germany. I like the language. I speak the language. I like the people. All of the experience that I've ever made in Germany were very beautiful, impactful, just wonderful memories. So I had the strong connection to Germany, and I did my internship there, and previously like high school exchanges and so on. So Germany was kind of like on my radar. And when I moved there first. So I lived in Frankfurt for almost 3 years. I worked in retail, fast fashion, clothing store for a Spanish brand. I worked in the store for the first 6 months, and then I got the HR business partner role for Germany. And Germany is a very big country. We had 6 stores all over the place, from Cologne to Berlin to Frankfurt to Stuttgart and Mannheim and so on. And I was traveling. I was working Mondays from home, then I was traveling Tuesday to Friday, train, hotels, and all that fun stuff. Then I moved to Barcelona. I got a new role, and that was where the headquarters were of the company. And that was an international HR business partner. So the same role, but at a bigger scale, I guess you could call it. So I was now, instead of traveling through one country, I was traveling through other countries, and mainly Europe. I overlooked for a time Russia. So I get to travel to Russia several times. And yeah, then I was flying from Tuesday to Friday every week, except maybe 2-3 weeks the whole year and the holidays when I was not traveling. Otherwise, my life was in a luggage, in a hotel, in a train, in a plane, somewhere in Europe.
And why did you decide to settle in the Netherlands?
So my boyfriend lives here. We're both Romanians. We know each other from back home, and I was the first one to leave for my internship. I was a year in Germany, and then when I come back, I think it was a week before I moved back to Romania, he got a role in Amsterdam, and he moved here, and he stayed here. I don't know if you've been, it's a beautiful city. It's a small, cozy city, but with everything that a big city has. You bike everywhere. It's very green. It's very nature-like. The Dutch culture it's like good life balance. People, they value their time with family, their time outside of work. It's just, we found that it ticked a lot of boxes, and it wasn't Germany. It isn't Germany, but it's in terms of the economy in general, how everything's structured. For us, it's very similar to the Nordic style, let's say. Because I lived in Barcelona, it was beautiful, but for me, I always knew that was a project, in the sense that my time there is limited, and I enjoyed it to the maximum, but I was like, this is so similar to home, in not always the best comparison. And I guess when it comes to living, I'm just much more, both me and him, much more attracted to Northern Europe countries. Germany, Belgium, Austria, Switzerland, Netherlands. And so here we are with this beautiful weather.
Also, you shared that by traveling, you trained your adaptability muscle, and your concept of home has changed. So how it changed?
I have this conversation every now and then. I talk to someone that, again, is from somewhere, and their parents are from somewhere else, and they grew up somewhere, and now they're living somewhere else. So these people that are just from all over the place. And somehow we always ended up talking about that, like, where's home for you, and how does that feel like? And it's changed because everywhere is home, and it's very different. And of course, Romania is home. That's my language. Nothing surprised. It's just part of who I am, right? My parents are there. My friends are there. Beautiful memories. Half of my life so far is there, more than half. So that is home, and I am Romanian, and I never miss an opportunity to tell people that I'm Romanian, although I don't live in Romania now for 10 years. So that is home, but everywhere I lived, I coming to that place felt like coming home. I got attached to the city. I got attached to my flat, the place I lived in. It was always very important to me to live somewhere that feels cozy and feels welcoming, because I was traveling so much. And then it was important to arrive somewhere on a Friday and feel like, I can just, like, unwind and breathe and recenter and rest and be creative and recharge and all that. And I don't know if speaking different languages, except, but I don't have this. It's very hard to explain because I feel that this is home. Whenever I go to Romania, I feel like, oh, I'm coming home, and there's the familiarity and so on. But then when I land in Amsterdam, I'm like, I'm home as well. And there's different things that you like and dislike everywhere you live, no matter where you live. But the speaking of the language, the friends you make, again, the memory. But at the same time, it doesn't, because I moved so much and somehow I always managed to create that certain feeling of home for me. I don't suffer from not being home. That would be hell. I know a lot of people that have moved or went to work somewhere else. They suffer from not being at home.
Yeah.
They genuinely every day they miss home. Like they're miserable. I never had that. So I don't miss home that dramatically. And it's just, I guess that's this flexibility or adaptability. Everywhere is home and nowhere is so strong of a home feeling that it makes it unbearable not to be there. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's always, the place you coming back, the place where you are attached to, and like doesn't matter if you are living there for, I don't know, 10 years or 1 week. It's your home. So basically, yeah, I totally get what you're talking about. And I was recently also thinking about like, what is home? And for me, I understood, when the war started in Ukraine. So basically, we had to move to the western part to be in a safe space. And it was like, I would say the first long-term move since my, I don't know, 30 years or something like that. And I was like, but what is really home? Is it the exact apartment where you lived? Or is there people who are around you and how you feel? And I understood that like, I don't really care about exact place. It's all about people and, feelings and all this stuff. So I feel like
then you get it. Then you understand what I mean. It's always very hard to explain that,
yeah.
what is home. I don't know. It's just a place where you can
it's a place where you feel good,
and just be. Yeah.
Exactly. I've heard stories about being homesick and all this stuff, and like, nope, my home is always with me, so it's never homesick.
That's a big strength, I believe, to be able to carry home in your soul. That's a big strength, because then it allows you to say yes to opportunities, to not be afraid of change and exploring where that's moving, new jobs, whatever. It's freedom, right? I think it adds to a certain.
And I feel like it's really a point you're giving here, that maybe I have no ideas like what other people feel who have this homesickness, but I believe that it's like afraid. They are just afraid to change. Maybe not. I don't know, but it's what I feel. So if you are afraid to change something, then definitely, like, as some old people say, like, previously it was better. So it's very similar to that. Like at home it was better, but once again,
I understand that perspective as well. I have really good friends that they're happy with where they are, stable jobs. They live in Romania. They bought a house, and that is home for them, and that's the reality, the only reality that they want to know. And then they holiday once or twice a year somewhere else, and they kind of fulfill the need that they have for that, adventure, and then that's that. And it's perfectly fine. It was like I had that. I knew already for quite a young age that I'm not going to live in Romania.
Why so?
I just had this. I don't even know if it's a feeling or if it was just a drive, like a wish or something within, like that I wanted to initiate. It wasn't we didn't live in comfort, like we didn't grow up in comfort. I'm not saying that it was bad or anything, but we didn't grow up in comfort. And so I saw my parents proactively like creating opportunities for themselves, going out there, like fighting elbows left and right to create the life that they deserve. So it was, and maybe it has something to do with, again, the time, post-communist, like Romania, it's still a very corrupt country. It's still, it's getting better, but it's very hard to compare with Germany or with the Netherlands or Belgium or UK or so on. So I always, ever since I was little, I thought like I knew that there's other countries where it's better because you don't have to be the propeller. The environment, the system is supporting you.
Yeah.
And in Romania, you have to be constantly the propeller, the change maker that you need to fight against, you need to create, you need to. And I does that sound familiar to you? I don't know, because you're from Ukraine, so maybe it's the same. I've never been, but maybe it's similar to, maybe what I'm talking about is similar to you. But on one hand, I have a lot of obviously very good Romanian friends, and many of them that live abroad, many of them that live in Amsterdam as well. And we constantly talk about this, the fact that growing up in that environment, this kind of, nothing gets done for you. You have to literally build windows and doors and opportunities for yourself. So you grow up very resourceful, like you grow up very, I'm going to try this, and if this doesn't work, I'm going to do that. And it's like, we're very like fast on our feet in general, and kind of like, oh, this doesn't work, that's fine. I'll try this way. So nothing really phases you, or there's very little things like around to at least the things that you feel that you have some sort of degree of control over. It's very hard to get phased by those, because you're like, hey man, I like this, tick, this thing, this, we'll make it work. So that helped. A big part, I think, of my resourceful personality, or flexibility, adaptability, not being scared, knowing that no matter what life throws, you will find some resources within you or outside to deal with that. So I'm grateful for that, actually. I'm very, very grateful. But yeah, I somehow always knew that I always had Germany on my mind, to be honest. I was like, I'm going to live in Germany. I want to live in Germany. I'm going to be in Germany.
I feel like it's like, do it yourself. So
yes.
Living in Romania, and same in Ukraine, you have to do it yourself. So if you try, you have like mistakes, you do mistakes, you learn on them. So there are not that many people who really care about you and want you to succeed. There are more people who like want to prevent you succeeding. But if you are succeeding, then you are succeeding because you made so many mistakes and built so much muscles, like all this stuff. So, and yeah, I totally believe that having those skills, let's say Romanian skills in Europe, it's just amazing.
It's definite. Sometimes it feels like an unfair advantage, because I'm thinking, yeah, if you grew up with just the environment facilitating things for you, and you never have to fight or think or fear, or like MacGyver your way through life, then it sometimes feels like an unfair advantage, because we kind of had to, be scrappy about things and just like push further. It's like, oh, you speak English and German and Spanish. I'm like, yeah, you have to, because if you grew up in Romania and you speak Romanian, you know that you need to speak up other languages, because Romanian has no value. Whereas
Exactly.
if you grow up in Spain or in the UK, or saying you speak English or Spanish, you're like, well, do I have to? I don't have to. There's no need, right? So it's the way the environment shapes, and of course there's a personality, like everything, like there's other factors there, but in general, it toughens one. Definitely.
Tell me a story about how did you meet your headphones?
These ones, how did I meet them?
Yes.
So I met them, I remember it very fondly, like it was yesterday. I met them under the Christmas tree.
Okay.
Santa brought them to me. And it was so funny because my boyfriend bought them to me and for me for Christmas, and he had no gift wrapping to kind of wrap the box, and so he found my sticky notes, and the box was like covered in colored sticky notes on all sides. So I kind of had to I took sticky by sticky to be like, surprise. And then I use them a lot in almost all my events. They're very comfy. I like
I
them.
can imagine, and that's exactly why I'm asking, because if I see you, if first I see headphones and it's definitely Anamaria. So you can even be turned around and I will understand that it's you. So
I also have smaller ones, but I don't know why sometimes
mostly those.
When I'm at my desk, I prefer this ones, but when I'm like out and about, of course, like I would never leave my flat and be in the tram with these ones on. So then I have like the small ones, the AirPods.
You told that when you are going out, when you have a good weather, you like to take a coffee to go. So do you love or just like coffee?
Love.
How much do you love it?
A lot. I started drinking coffee quite late, like in my 20s. I think I was 20, 21 or 22. Maybe that's normal. I don't know. And I drink, first of all, I drink filter coffee. So it's not extremely strong. It's not like a espresso super. And then I warm up milk and I drink with milk. So it's more of a cappuccino, if you like, type of situation. And I drink maybe four or five, like five. I definitely drink two in the morning. Then I drink maybe, depending how late I eat lunch, maybe 3 before I eat lunch, and then definitely one after lunch if I don't spill it like today with you. And then one at around 4 or 5. So yeah, I rarely drink tea. I drink tea when I'm sick or in winter, sometimes, like in the evenings in winter. And otherwise it's coffee, and it's really bad because I constantly have a coffee cup that I sip from. I rarely drink water. I have to remind myself, you need to drink water, you need to hydrate, because obviously coffee is the worst because it also dehydrates you. So sometimes I think that my brain is just like a small, like a how do you call that?
Bean?
When the grapes are like
okay.
like a dry.
I understand but I'm the same, not native English speaker, so
I don't know how you call those. Yeah, when the grapes are dry and you have those dry fruits, I feel that my brain is like, yeah.
But let's call them old grapes.
Old grapes.
Anyway, yeah, and you told that you like cappuccino, and you reminded me of my love journey with coffee. So how it works? Basically, I drink 4/5 of a cup it's milk, and only 1/5 is coffee. And it's a nice story when my wife buys. She really likes coffee, so she know all the sorts and differences and all this Nicaragua and all this. And I was like, okay. And she was like, oh, by the way, did you notice, like, how do you like this sort of coffee? I was like, I don't know. If you change milk, I will notice, but I have no ideas about the coffee. So how it works for you? Do you love those sorts, and do you know how to pick them?
No, I don't know how to. I don't know much, so I don't have an education, or I haven't read or anything. I also don't. There are these people that they look at the temperature of water, how much it's similar, like different techniques, or they weight like their coffee, like X grams of coffee for the different. I don't do that. I have my filter, and the one thing I would tell you is that I don't like the coffee to be bitter, so I don't go for dark roasts. I go usually for medium, like lower, if possible, lower acidity and lower roast, like a mild. I go for those, and I try to be more mindful, I guess, of the convenience and how it was sourced. So if I find fair trade, biological, I go for that instead of the typical big brands, big coffee brands. That's it.
What's
And
your
sometimes
favorite coffee shop?
We have one very close to home. It's called this coffee bar espresso or something, I think. It's just a neighborhood coffee place, but they have, again, like homemade cakes and really good coffee and just a nice ambiance. I don't have a favorite, as long as it's cozy and the coffee is good according to my tastes, and there's something sweet, again, that it's homemade or organic or bio, or like, I'm like, yes, I can deal with that. And I like coffee. I like coffee spots or cafes in bookstores or in museums.
Why?
Because I like bookstores and museums are some of my favorite places to hang, to be honest. They relax me, they inspire me. I feel calm, relaxed, centered for some reason. And I do that a lot. I go to a museum every time I get the opportunity. If I travel somewhere, for sure, there's at least one museum on the list, no matter how beautiful the weather is outside. And it's not the weather for the museum. I'm like, there's always weather for the museum. And there's something about, I like art. Again, I'm not a collector. I'm not crazy with like the different artists and learning a lot about their techniques. I don't go in that depth. I just appreciate beauty, and I like to be surprised. And what I most like in museums, I guess, it's how they arrange the space, like the whole room, or how you move from room to room. I noticed that captures so much more my attention, the whole vibe and atmosphere, and how the different rooms are different than the rest, with the lights, with the paints, with everything, than a specific art piece in itself. That as well, but the whole experience and immersion. And so bookstores the same. I like magazines, books. Some of I tend to get a lot of inspiration from magazines, actually. Just all sorts of things, especially design, or again, arts or design, or kind of like alternative designs or independently produced designs. And once again, beyond the content, I look at what's the materials? Did they cut it in the weird shape? Have they added something? Can I play with it? Can I cut it? How can I interact with that piece of like content? So because I like those environments and they stimulate me a lot, there's always some sort of a coffee break involved.
Yeah, exactly.
By the end of that experience, so that's why like coffee shops in bookstores or museums are like, that's the cherry on top after all that balm for the soul. Is like, and now a coffee and a cookie or a cake, like, what? Yes, that's my definition of a nice day.
That's exactly what I'm asking, because, from my experience, usually they are not paying too much attention to the quality of coffee in museums and bookstores, because it's like they have something.
Yeah.
So that is the hardest part.
Yeah, that's true. People don't usually go to a museum for the for the coffee.
Yeah, it's like an addition,
It's an afterthought. Yeah.
and
But
can you
some of them
imagine?
have
Mm,
nice. Yeah.
yeah,
Like in
can you
Amsterdam, there's a
imagine
bookstore, is really, and
if
with all
if
the rain, is like, man, yeah, give me a book and a coffee. And here I could spend my whole day in a bookstore, whole day. They will have to kick me out and be like, hey, don't you have places to be?
are you purchasing those books after that, or you
Mm,
just reading them and just see you?
I do. Yeah. I have faces. I'm now, again, I buy a lot of magazines, and I read a lot of fiction, especially young adult. Like your typical, there's a woman who's a hero or a man who's a hero. I love everything that has to do with dystopian realities, like we live on Mars and we have to mine or do something, or we live in different castes in our societies, and some people are more privileged, and then there's the poor, and then some, like, there's a revolution, there's a revolt, we fight against the city. I'm a sucker for those stories. I used to read a lot of nonfiction in, like, a couple of years ago. I was centered on learning and reading books that are about the brain and learning and
Yeah.
self-optimizing and so on. And it was everything, and it matched. I really liked it. I learned. They put me in the zone. It was amazing. And then one time, I can't really pinpoint when, I was like, I couldn't look at them. I couldn't get myself to read them.
Yeah.
And now my reading is either magazines. Obviously, we read a lot all the time online, LinkedIn articles, newsletters, and so on, blog posts. But books, it's mainly fiction in the evening or mornings. Or
I can relate so much, I feel like I'm coming to this point right now because
Mm.
I have two nonfiction books not finished, like 50, 60%, and I'm already finishing the third fiction book. So, and those books are still, not finished. And I'm like, yeah,
there's something there. Yeah.
I don't have a mood. Yeah. And fiction books are reading so easy. So you just, how I call it, you just eat the book, so.
I love, it's my favorite way to unwind. Like, even if I only read a page because I'm dead tired or I had a long day or whatever, I need a 2 minutes immersion in that world of fantasy where heroes are battling inequalities, and uh, just to fall asleep in a in a peaceful way. Where do you usually get, like, your inspiration? You like, where do you find, like, what sparks your brain? Where do you get, like, all fired up ideas? What are the sources?
I would say it's total randomness.
Mm,
And I would say conversation with people
mm,
and listening to a podcast, reading to a book, noticing something in the nature. So I was trying to think, like recently somebody asked me, like, how do you get yourself in the like working mode, or how do you inspire yourself? And I was like, I have no ideas. It's all just, I imagine that there is just a huge puzzle which
mm,
consists of books, podcasts, people, like
mm.
everything. And at some point, those pieces are just connecting. And it's like, wow, I should do that. And
Yeah.
that's how it works. And previously, I also tried to hack my brain, like how to be more productive, how to structure your day, and all the stuff. And now I understood
Mm,
that, like, if I would try to be super productive every day, I won't, because sometimes there will be a days when I can't do anything. For
mm,
example, sometimes I need to strategize, but
mm.
I just can't.
Fun.
But I
Yeah.
totally understand that at this time I can, clean the apartment.
Yeah.
And it's also, I need to do this, but I'm not good for
Mm,
strategizing. So why don't I just clean the apartments? And the funniest thing that during this cleaning process, good ideas are coming, which helps me to strategize. So I always like, if I am trying to do something and I understand that I can do it, I'm always like, oh, okay, I'm giving up. I'm giving up and doing something different. And then I'm coming back to track. So it's for
Yeah.
me, you don't have to, chase, the system and like
Yeah.
be in
Don't
this.
force it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't work that way. And when you have an idea, you can work on it. And sometimes I can work, like I can sit from, I don't know, 8 to 12,
Mm.
and I'm talking about 12 a.m. And
Mm.
while doing something, and sometimes I can't even focus for, I don't know, 15 minutes.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's very,
riding. I call this riding the energy wave. When I
yeah.
feel inspired, I'm like, now is the time to sit down or pull out my notes in the iPhone, and then I start jotting down stuff. And when not. So it's like, if I naturally gravitates towards rest, then rest it is. If I naturally gravitate towards, I have a lot of like my brain's buzzing, I have to put stuff out there or create or whatever, then let's create space for that. I think that's yeah, it's a good balance.
I've recently even had a day when I was like, I started reading a book and I was like, I have a lot of tasks to do, but then I will read a book. I just can't do those tasks. And uh, and also, if you push yourself, sometimes you might feel guilty. And at least for me, it's like, oh, I can do this. Maybe I'm stupid. But then I understand, no, it's just not the energy time.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's the key. That is self-care, right? Knowing when to pull out, knowing when to sit on the bench. If today's not the day, I sit this one out and we'll see how tomorrow goes. That's self-love and self-care.
But I'm learning from
Yeah.
our US colleagues and European colleagues, because they know how to do it. People from Ukraine, and I bet people from Romania do not know how to do it. So
Yes.
we have a long way to learn.
Yeah, I have nothing to add there, because yes. Because yes.
What is your favorite Harry Potter character?
I haven't watched Harry Potter and I haven't read the books.
Maybe
that's why these people call me crazy.
So fine.
I haven't read the books. I knew about the movies. I somehow never got around to see them. I think it was last year or 2 years ago. I was like, okay, let me start watching the movies. And then I start with the first one and I was like, gosh, like, how is this filmed? Like, it felt just very poorly produced. And I was like, why do people and then my boyfriend was like, but like, wait a minute, this came out, I don't know, like 10 years ago, like maybe more. I have no idea when the first one was filmed. It's like, yeah, the special effects were, a bit different than they are today. I watched the first one. I don't know. I'd say Hermione. I have no idea. I don't know what their traits are. I haven't really spend enough time with them to connect with their personalities.
I can
Which
imagine.
one's yours?
I feel like this man with this long beard, but I don't even. Hagreaves, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't say, like I only watched movies. It was like fun thing to do. And I was just imagining, what if one day I were going through metro or train station and then accidentally go through this platform somewhere to this world.
And I don't know anyone.
What if? Yeah, like what if? And it was fun. It was fun to fantasize, growing up. But now I understand that if I will go through the wall, most likely I will have brain concussion or something like that. So better not to try. And it's the funny, I was laughing so hard when I read that in the UK, some people really tried to go through this wall. So they even had to put a sign, so there is no way out there. But still, yeah. But
I mean,
have
I
you
get
ever,
kids doing that, but
I believe not only, but have you ever thought about having a magic wand?
every now and like every I think sometimes there's the saying, if you have a magic wand, what would you say? Or what would you? I think every now and then I played with that idea, but I haven't thought about it seriously, if that's what you're asking.
I
I
once
haven't made a plan to kind of find one.
once I read this book, and it was something like, you have to do 3 good things and you will receive a magic wand. And I literally believed in it, and I tried to do 3 good things, but nobody
No
gave me
magic one.
it. But then it was weird for me why this magic wand has only 3 wishes, and this character didn't ask for more magic wands, because he could literally create like millions of magic wands or make this magic wand unlimited or something like that. But yeah, they were stupid. So if somebody will give me a magic wand, I know what to do with it.
Always keep the last wish to wish for another magic wand, right?
Yeah, totally. And always, it's always was about like this genie thing. Like, you have only 3 wishes. I was like, I don't wish for more. But I feel like it's human greed, and all this stuff. But anyway,
Yeah.
Anamaria, I really have so many questions to ask you, and I wish to have the sky's limit to our conversation, but time is the limit. So let's jump to the rapid fire questions. Are you
Oh,
ready?
no.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
It
expected.
doesn't
So,
matter. You have to go through them anyways.
Berlin or Barcelona?
Berlin or Barcelona? Gosh, Berlin. Because it's in Germany.
Butter or Nutella?
Is this a tricky question?
It depends how you
I'm
think
not,
about
I'm
it.
not, this is not even a joke, but I'd stick with butter simply because I eat butter more than I eat Nutella. I like Nutella, but yeah, I'll go with butter. And also because butter. So
Did you have this chocolate butter in Romania? I remember this chocolate butter
no,
in
I'm happy we
Ukraine.
didn't. Chocolate butter? No, that sounds like a atrocious thing. No.
It's crazy.
But there's this account on Instagram. I don't know if you found it already. It's a chef. He has a restaurant and he's mixing butter with all sorts of things. It's if you like butter, it's absolutely madness because he's all sorts of flavored butter with all sorts of stuff. Mouth watering. I don't remember now. I'll share with you afterwards if you're keen.
Got it. I will definitely
Ooh.
ask you. What are your favorite color and song?
Color, I think I would pick yellow. Your t-shirt. I like it's a very happy color. I think I like yellow. I like to look at yellow. I'm attracted to yellow things. I find it very soothing and calming and fun and open. Song, I never had a fixation with a song.
Or
I don't know.
today, or week, or
There's a nice song. It's called, I'm not sure if it's called like that, but it's I'm surfing on endorphins. I don't know if you know it. Yeah, I don't know who sings it. I don't know. I'm really bad with names and stuff. I don't remember things. I don't remember actresses' names. I'm really bad with general names, band names, everything has to do with names, movie names. I'm always like, it's the movie where they did this and that. And I'm like it has to be something very special for me to remember names.
I can imagine.
So,
and welcome to the yellow team. You're not,
yay!
you're one of the,
I'm not alone.
yeah, I know at least 3 more community builders who also live, but usually it's green and blue. But yeah, welcome to the yellow team.
Yellow.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
I would like to time travel.
I will ask you 2 hard questions. Who do you learn from in the community world? Just name one person.
One,
Yes.
I learned from many, but I found myself just devouring every single newsletter and post that David Spinks puts out lately. He's on a roll. Everything he shares, I'm like, oh, let me take note of that. Just really good. Yeah.
Got it. And name 2 people who I should definitely reach out and invite to this conversation.
Okay. First one, Eche Kurtaraner. Do you know her?
Not
No.
yet?
So Eche Kurtaraner, she's a community consultant. She is advising and working with different communities. She's currently working with the team at Wonder and Generalist World with Millie. She's based in the UK. And then the second person is Sarah Adefenhiti. Maybe I'm sure I mispronounced her name. I probably mispronounced both. H is a really good H. If you hear this, sorry if I mispronounce your name. She's a really good friend of mine. Sarah Adefenhiti. She's the community lead for founders and coders. I had a chat with her ever since she was working at Huddlecraft, and then she changed and kind of like we keep on, following each other's work and so on. So if you haven't talked to them,
Got it.
They're fun. They're fun
Got
to
it.
talk with.
Is there one question that I definitely should have asked you but didn't?
No.
The easiest question, I guess.
I don't know. You asked me a lot of good questions. This was the most interesting and non-conformist podcast or conversation. I don't know.
Just the beginning, I have so many questions to ask you. So get ready for the volume 2. One day it will definitely happen. And yeah, Anamaria, it's super nice. I know you. I feel like I know you from the expert point of view because I see a lot of posts of you. I've heard a lot of L&D Shakers community. I heard a lot of Butter, and like it feels like I definitely learned a lot from you. And now I'm getting to know you as a person, as a human, which is super nice. And I do believe that, Ukrainian and Romanians still have very much in common. And it's always nice to talk to, somebody who understands how it works, how it really works, not how they say it works, but how it really works. So yeah, thank you very much.
Eastern Europe, unite! Woohoo!
Thank you very much for sharing your at least a small part of your life journey and getting just a little closer in this human, let's say, human kind of conversations.
Thank you so much. This was really fun. Thanks for the conversations and also for the jumping around. I know you warned me that this is going to be the case. It was really, really fun to experience it. Thanks for the curiosity, for inquiring, for wanting to learn more about me. This was great.
And see you in the community world.
See you there. Take care.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button or 5 stars and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.